Hi, I'm Claire, CEO of Know Your Team, where we give you the tools and training, really everything you need to become a better leader. And I'm here today with another manager tip on something I've been asking myself a lot lately, which is how do I actually know if I'm doing a good job as a leader? Is it going okay? Is it not going okay? Is there sort of barometer or self-help quiz that I can take, so to speak? I think it's so important for us as leaders to calibrate and get a sense of where we are and what our progress is. And to be frank, there doesn't really seem to be any barometer. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. There are, in fact, two critical questions that you as a leader can ask yourself to self-reflect, to deepen your own self-knowledge, and really push yourself to become the leader that you've always wanted to be. And so if you're not sure how well you're doing, start here with these two questions. And the first question to ask yourself to figure out how well you're doing as a leader, if you're being a good leader, is to what degree do you believe you are seeing the current reality for what it is? Now, the reason this question is so important, this question about if you're actually taking things at face value, if you are truly being rigorous and seeking out the truth, if you are approaching your team members and creating space for them to come with you with honest feedback, the reason it's so important is because it's so easy to sort of create a mirage for ourselves as leaders. It's easy to say, well, oh, you know what? We didn't hit those goals because of someone else's fault. Or, the reason that this person is underperforming is it's just solely on them. And that may be in part true, but it also may not also be true. And it's really up to us as leaders to figure out and parse and be willing to see the truth for what it is rather than what we want it to be. So this is one of the hardest things to, I think, self-evaluate as well as a leader. Gosh, how do you get a sense of what reality is when you have your own biases and perceptions? And, we can get a little philosophical too about what the objective current reality is as well. But I'm talking from more of a conceptual level of the desire to actually see this reality. That's the critical piece of what is going to separate you from being a mediocre leader to being a great leader. So ask yourself that question. Now, the second question you're going to want to ask yourself to sort of give yourself a self-test as to whether or not you're being a good leader is this question, which is, to what degree are you creating an environment for your team to be successful? And you're going to notice that I used a very specific word in that question, which is environment. To what degree, as a leader, are you setting things up so that the things around your team members, the environment itself, the tools that they have, the resources, the context, the know-how, that real environment, to what degree have you actually contributed to those pieces? For example, if you are not doing this necessarily, you're going to find yourself actually really in the weeds of the work. You find yourself knocking a lot of stuff out yourself. You find yourself owning a lot more pieces maybe than you should. You find yourself sort of saying exactly how something should be done. And that's not the environment. That's in fact the work itself. And so ask yourself this question, give yourself this self-check of, okay, am I actually really trying to influence the environment here, or am I trying to do a little too much of the work itself? Because that's going to be the difference between you really being able to level up to be the leader that you want to be. So as you reflect, as you really, take a courageous step to hold up a mirror and consider if you are being the leader that you are capable of being, do come back to these two questions around if you're seeing the current reality for what it is, and if you are actually focused on creating an environment versus doing the work itself. And I guarantee you those two questions alone, if you ask that on a regular basis, you'll start to see your abilities as a leader progress even further.